Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Professor Sistrunk, and I'm back again to meet with the student body about another packet tracer. Okay, this particular packet tracer is 2.2.5. I'm actually going to put those numbers in there so you guys know what I'm working with. That way you won't think, oh, Professor, what are we working with today? So, we're going to actually dive deeper into the purpose and meaning of this entire class. This is where it begins. Yeah, we did a little bit of it in the last couple of packet traces, but this is where the rubber meets the road. So, you're going to learn the commands. Now remember, I said this. I said it really do not matter if you are in a lab working with the real equipment, in the office working with the real equipment, or using packet tracer or some other simulation application. So you can be using VMware applications, you can be using VirtualBox, or you can be using packet tracer. You can be using any of those tools to create a simulated world where you're working with routers and switches. Not that they will actually have everything you need, but you can use them to get to that point. But what's most important, and I try to teach all students this, it's not what the tools you have, it's knowing how to use the commands on the tools you have. Like using the commands on packet tracer, and that's why I'm doing this long series of packet tracers, because eventually I'm going to do a long series of using the real equipment. And you're going to get a chance to see how complex it is to put the real equipment together when you can just learn the commands. See, that's what you're doing. You're learning the commands. So in this particular packet tracer, you will see that you will be working with verifying the default switch configuration. So we're going to work with switches, and you can see we got switches over here. Configure a basic switch configuration. When we meet in the classroom, or if you're one of my students online, you need to know how to do a basic switch application. Now, I'm asking some of my students in my classroom, hey, go ahead and configure this switch, and they're going to, oh, Professor, they're going to freeze up, but hopefully they won't. I got faith that they won't. But anyway, configure a banner, knowing the purpose of the banner. Like in my classroom, I told them, the purpose of the banner is to let people know you shouldn't be using these devices. You shouldn't be logging into them. If you don't have authorization to go into these devices, you shouldn't be doing it. That's a no-no. Save configuration files. We need to know how to save our files and where we will be saving them to. And configure S2. Now, we're not going to configure S2. We're just going to do everything here. You will configure S2, but I'm not going to do it. Now remember, when you see S2, S1, like you see right here and here, just remember those particulars names will not actually be the name in a corporation. We're just using a name here. And here we'll say S2 or SW2 to mean a switch, or R1 or RW1 to mean a router, I mean not RW, but RO1 to mean a router. So just make sure that you understand it. Now, let's get our scenario down. Now, you're going to see me paying a lot more attention to the scenario, because the scenario is telling you exactly what you should be doing. You have your objectives. Now, let's find out. As an IT manager, I walk up to you and I say specifically, this is what I want you to do. In this activity, you will perform a basic switch configuration task. You will secure access to the command line interface, CLI, and console ports using encryption and plain text passwords. You will also learn how to configure messages for users logging into the switch. Right, messages, so they'll understand that they cannot do that. These messages, banners, are also used to warn unauthorized users that access is prohibited. Now, if you're an unauthorized person, meaning you don't have permission to do this, to log into a switch or router, and you do it, then I can legally pursue you. Note, what we'll be using is the Catalyst 2960 switch. Now that's a series of switch. They're older switches, but hey, we're learning this. And then you will be using the iOS 15. Now these are older applications and older devices, but you'll be learning that. Now with that being said, let's go ahead and move on and see what else we have in here. So we get to the instructions part, and as you can see without reading everything, you can see the first thing you're going to do is enable, meaning you already know how to enable, so you're going to log in, and then you're going to run show running configuration. You're going to look at the configuration to see what's in there. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to do that on switch 1. Now, and I'm going to actually name it switch 1. So the first thing I'm going to do is do enable, and then I'm going to say show run just to see what's in here. Now, you see, I'm doing shortcuts to speed it up, but I want you to learn the commands, so type them in. So with show run, it's showing me the running configuration. And as you can see here, I really have nothing in here. It says switch host name, switch, nothing is configured. It's all empty. You can see that. Now I know you did this lab, but it's going to be some labs I'm going to proceed you in. So pay attention to what I'm doing. And you can see the VTY line and all that. Nothing is configured. So I'm not magically doing anything. Okay, so I'm going to close that. And I'm going to go back to the actual instructions. Okay, so we did that. Now we know what enable do. It advances us up to privilege mode. And we know what show running config does. It shows us the running configuration, the commands that's actually got that router or switch working right now. So let's go ahead and go down and look at some more stuff here. Now you're going to read all of this. I'm just giving you the basics of understanding. So right now it says create a basic switch configuration. So what it wants us to do is give a host name. You see that there. We're going to call it switch 1, and we're going to exit. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go into the switch, and we're going to say we already in the command terminal, so we don't have the configuration terminal. We don't have to do that. So I'm going to say host name, and I'm going to say S1. So I just made a mistake. I said host name S1. What did I do wrong? Come on. I didn't change it into the configuration mode. So I got to go config T. There we go. Now I can go host S1. So I'm going to make mistakes here. I'm purposely making these mistakes so you can think through the process. Don't just assume you're going to be right. Think through the process. See these mistakes. So let's go exit out. And now you can see right here that if I type in show run, now you see the host name has configured. That's what you're doing. You changing the configuration of these devices. Let's take that a little deeper. So what you mean, Professor, I'm changing the configuration? You see all of this here? This here is what you will be configuring. You will be changing. You will be taking control over the switch or the router and having it do what the company needs it to do. That's what network administrators do. Now they do a whole host of other things, but that's the primary function of being able to be a network administrator, to configure and take command of that device to have it do what you want it to do. Okay, and that's what we're doing. Okay, so let's go back into it. Let's see what the instructions say now. So we did that. We changed the name. We did good. Now let's go here, bring this down a little. Let's go down here. Now, what else do we want to do? So now that we changed the name, and remember, the corporation may have the name of the switch, hallway 10. They wouldn't do that, but they want to name the switch so they can put it in a proper place and let the people who work there know exactly where it's at. And when I say people who work there, I'm only talking about the IT team. So when you hear me talking, I'm going to talk about employees. I'm going to say employees. But when I'm talking about the people who be working with the routers and switches, that's the IT team. That's the network administrators department. So you got network technician, network administrators, network engineers. Those people will be doing this. Okay, now let's secure access to the console line, meaning, you know, inside of let's assume that this here is the actual room where the routers and switches are at. We don't want people to walk up here and start putting cable cord to the back of the routers and switches. So, but if I had a switch down here, we don't want people to go in there and automatically just start tinkering around and changing things. You know, some people will come in there and throw one of them console cable cords, and you know what that is, inside of your devices and start tinkering around and changing the configuration. So let's take a look here and see what we got to do now. So we're going to do this. We're going to go to configuration terminal. We're going to escalate our privileges up. We're going to say line console 0, password, let me in, log out, exit, exit. So I am going to take this here, slide it right here, and then I'm going to just go ahead and click right there and start typing that in. So I'm going to say config, escalate my privileges up, then I'm going to say line console. I was just about to do it in, you know, short term, but no, we're not going to do that. Pass, we're not going to do you like that. We're not. I don't want you to get in the habit of doing it right now. I know you're going to learn that way. Let me in. I know you're going to learn that way, but right now I just want you to be able to do this. Now, if I didn't type in that login, I wouldn't be turning that port on. The port will still be off. With that login, the port is turned on. And now I'm going to exit out. Let's exit. Look at me messing up. But it's good to see the professor messing up because you know that you don't have to be too serious. And I'm going to exit out again so you can see what happens. Now, as you looking at my screen, now watch this. I'm going to hit enter. It's asking for a password. You know now, you just put a password on that port, the line console port, so they cannot come in and make changes. Okay, so I'm just going to say, let me in. If I did it right, there we go. We in. And I'll go enable. So now you can see that. You know, if I say show, I'm going to say show run. You know that's show running configuration. Okay, so let's, and you can see right now, I'm going to go down here, and there it is. You can see where I made the changes at. See, that go to password. On line console 0, I put a password, let me in. So just remember that now. You have to secure the ports. When you get a brand new switch or a brand new router, you want to secure it. So when you put it in operations, no one can come in there and tamper with it. So let's proceed on. The next thing, so we were able to do that. The next thing it talks about is actually, let's move on down. I'm going to bring this down here. Let's go right there. I think I went too far. Let's not go that far. Okay, let's bring it up just a little. Now we want to set secure privilege mode access. So if we secured, I'm going to come back over here so you can see this. If we secured this port here, and I'm going to exit out because I want you to see this in real time. If we secured this port here, right? So that means no one can come access this, and I'm going to say let me in. Now when I hit enable, I want to secure this here. I want to secure the privilege mode. So I secure it. Now listen, I secured the user mode. Now I want to secure the privilege mode. And this is what I want to say to my security people. You have to learn in the game has to build some form of security. People have to authenticate themselves. So when you take my cybersecurity analysis class, Cisco cybersecurity analysis, you want to secure the ports. You want to secure people authenticating in. You're going to learn all these particulars. But this is the foundation. This is where we start. So security people, pay attention. You coming in here in a couple of weeks or so, but you need to know this too. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to say config T, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to type in enable, because we know we want to protect this. We're going to put a password on. Okay, we're doing good, baby. We're doing good. Let me stop. One. I'm having too much fun, people. Y'all see how it is. You got to have too much fun with this stuff. C0. That go to password, right? I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to say exit. Okay. Let me put that exit in there. Okay. And there we go. Now watch this. I'm going to exit again. Again. And then we're going to say let me in. Let me in. I got that secure. Now I'm going to go enable. It asks for another password. So I secured those 2 ports. I secured user interface mode. I secured privilege mode. You won't be sneaking up and down on me. No, let me stop. Of course you won't. So I'm going to say C1 $, C0, enter. And I'm in. So take a moment to think about this, people. First, you want to say, what commands can I do to secure the user interface mode? What commands can I use to secure the privilege exec mode? You want to be able to actually protect your routers and switches. Now, you verified that privilege mode access is secure. We went and took a look in there and we verified it. Now, if you was in my CCNS 141 class, you know that I said verify. So many people lose their jobs when they don't pay attention to verify their particular configurations. Verify it, people. It don't take nothing but a second to do it. So don't be that person that it takes years to do. Okay, let's go on. Now I can show running configuration. Let's go ahead and do that. Even though I just showing you that it actually has been completed. Okay, so what did we do so far? We put in, we named the actual switch. We put in privilege exec password, and we also did a user interface password right here. Okay, so that's good, people. That's good. Now, if that was it, that would be it. You can go and you can do your own thing, but that would be it. Now, let's go ahead and put a banner in here. Now, we're going to tell everybody in the world, if you log in here and you shouldn't be in here. And that right here, you get to see what its short abbreviation is right here. But if you log in here, you don't belong in here. We're going to make sure you do 955 billion years in prayer. Well, I know, I get a little carried away. So now we're just going to drop a banner. Okay, so with the banner, we're just going to go right here. We're going to go to configuration mode. Remember, we always got to escalate ourselves up. We're going to go banner. Let's put that banner in mode. Okay, and we're going to put in this. I'm not going to really type it all out because I'm not going to do all that. I'm just going to say, hello. Hello. Okay, and that's good enough for me. Okay, that's good enough for me. And I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to exit out. Now, let me show you what a banner went. So we're going to exit out of here. Hit enter. That go to banner right there. That's the first thing a person should see who got knowledge on how to log into switches and routers. That message saying you do not have authentication, authorization, or privileges to go in there. However they want to form it. Some companies, believe it or not, put a whole page on there and say, listen, we're going to convict you to the highest level of the law. So just make sure you don't do that. Then I'm going to say, let me in. Let me go back in there. Let me in. If I did it right, okay, enable, and then I'm gonna say C1 $, I think it's C0 if I did it right, and we did. So we're back in there. Now, it's a lot of things that we can do. We can put timers on these passwords. So if a person is letting it be just static for a while, it'll just jump back to, hey, you got to put your password in. We can do a lot of stuff, but this is the basic of passwords. This is not something that we would actually do in the industry. This is just teaching you how to put passwords in there. We have a much advanced way of doing password because we want people to authenticate themselves to the system. We want to be able to track all our IT people in there working. So we have a lot of things that we're going to learn to do to make sure that you can go out there and work in the world and do this efficiently. Now we got that done. So let's come back over here and start finishing up. We're going to do a few things. We're going to change the passwords because right now a lot of these passwords is a little different. Right now, as you can see right here, I can do copy running configuration. I'm not going to do that right now. It's some stuff I skipped over, but I'm going to go back to that because now I want to make changes to things in here. So this right here, encrypt the enable and console password. I want to encrypt that now. So what I'm going to do is come here. Now, what I mean by encrypting is that most of my passwords are plain text. I don't want people to see my passwords when they log in. So I'm going to come here and encrypt that. And the reason I like to do this last is because I want you to really get an understanding. Well, let's go back to show. Let's do this. Let's go show. You already saw it a couple of times, but I'm going to say show run just to show you what I really mean. So as you can see this password. I don't want you to see my passwords. And you can come down here and you can see this password too. So that's plain text. I want to change that. I want to make it so you can't see it, or in other words, it's encrypted. Now, mind you, this type of encryption, people, trust me when I say this, this is not what we really use. Don't fall for that, okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and go config. I'm going to encrypt those passwords. And then I'm going to go service, because this is service password. This is a way to this is one way to encrypt passwords, which we don't use no more. Thank God, because people can hack these particular this particular encryption. And you're going to learn, for my security people, you're going to learn all the different types of encryptions that can be hacked. And then we're going to exit. Now, when I come here and type in show run, and just so you know, if I just hit my arrow key up, I can see all the commands I put in. So I'm going to go show run, and you can see that password has been encrypted. You see that? Let's go down here. It's been encrypted. Okay, you see that? Now, those are basic encryptions. Anyone can hack those encryptions. You know, it's a hash, but someone can change that hash. They got all type of devices out there that can do that. Okay, people, so that was basically it. Now, it's most work in here, but I'm expecting you to go knock it out on your own. The last thing I'm going to leave with is this right here. Now that I completed all my tasks, this is where you can lose your job real quickly. Always copy running, and I'm going to say run to start up. I'm going to short start up a configuration. Let's see if that works. And it does, and I'm going to hit enter. I just shortchanged it. Just make sure you learn how to do it the right way. Type it all the way in. So now that took the running configuration that I just created into the startup configuration. So if ever that switch shuts down, guess what would happen? It would come back up and start off from where it's at. And we have that happen all the time. Configurations, the switches get turned off for some reason, maybe a thunderstorm, maybe somebody make a mistake and kick a cord out, which would never happen. But for whatever reason, it will go back, it'll start back up. If you didn't do that, and the switch shut down, and we came back up, people will be confused, they'll be upset, and that can jeopardize your job because no one will be able to log onto the system. This is Professor Sistron. I hope you enjoy this lab. Please like and share when you see my YouTube come to you so I can continue to push more and more of this out. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.